Welcome. This is Tuolumne Legends, and today we have Rayanne Tamayo. Am I saying that right?
Tamayo. Yeah.
And
so I've been told.
So you've been told, yeah. Like, how old am I? Well, whatever my mom said I was. Yeah. She's running for District 2 Supervisor and one of many candidates. And we're here to get to know you better. And jumping right into it, tell us where you were bborn and tell us a little about your parents.
I was born and raised in the Bay Area, kind of into a blended family. My mom had my sister and I, and then she married someone who had 4 other kids.
Oh, boy.
So we blended the big family, and then they had one more. So I grew up in Newark, California, which is on the outskirts of Fremont. Everybody knows Fremont, but not too many people know Newark. Huge family. My mom had 6 sisters, and so we just grew up in a huge...
All down there.
You didn't dare leave Newark. My grandparents moved, I believe, in 1948 from Missouri to California, right to Newark, in the house that I grew up in. So they bought the home. My mom and her sisters were raised there, and nobody dare left until Grandma passed away. Grandpa.
Boy.
So then people started trickling out of that area.
And man, that was just after the war, huh?
Yes.
Missouri.
And the house, interestingly enough, you go up the stairs, and there was one of the bedrooms had a doorway onto the porch, and it was built for soldiers so that people could let soldiers stay in their homes. So they'd come in that separate entrance door and share their home.
Nice.
Yeah. So I raised in a house with a big family. They had my brother. So there's 7 of us. And then I lived there until I was about, I don't even know how old I was, 31 or 2. Moved to Modesto after that.
What year is that, Modesto?
Oh my gosh. My oldest son was born in 93 and he was almost 5. So about 97, right before he was 5, we moved to Modesto.
We jumped ahead way.
Yeah, way ahead.
Tell us your childhood though, like...
So childhood, my grandma went into real estate actually when she was, I think she got her license in her early 50s, 52 became a broker. She passed away at 63, unfortunately, but and I'm not bragging, she was a millionaire when she died.
Oh, wow.
And so hard work, and they taught our family, they called us horse traders. We're going to make a buck however we need to. Grandpa had a tree farm for the Christmas trees, and they opened restaurants and any way to make $1. And so from that, being that industrial, passed that on to my mom, and my mom did whatever it took to make a buck too. So my dad owned a fence company, ran that. And then my mom did evening and weekend work. She was a typesetter, and she could type on an IBM Selectric typewriter. She could have typed quicker if she could have read faster. Oh, and she did numbers typesetting. So she did like computer, I don't even know what it was called. But we'd sneak off to Palo Alto with her at night. She'd take us to work because she wasn't alone late at night.
Yeah.
And then during the day, she did crafts and cooking and would open a little store in that soldier's room for Christmas. So that's how we had...
She's a busy lady.
She stayed she passed it on though. We all of us are the same way. She stayed really busy. Volunteer. She taught us to volunteer. And if we have time, talent, and money, we're obligated to give a little bit of that away.
That's the best thing to do with kids is volunteer.
Yeah.
Man, it just opens up a whole new world.
Yes.
Teaches kids how to communicate and meet new people and
serve others.
Yeah.
And I complained all along, but now that I'm an adult, it's ingrained in me, and I volunteer a lot. So I'm thankful for that upbringing I had.
In high school, how was high school?
I loved high school. We lived in West End, Newark, which was it was poor end of town. Right at the end of that Dumbarton Bridge, and right over the bridge is Palo Alto. So we had a heavy influence of all my friends were cholos, and I wanted to be one so bad. I started dressing like them, and that's all that was around us. I just loved that culture, but I started getting in trouble with the culture as well. And not too deep. I was a 6th grader. How much trouble are you going to get into? But girls are putting thumbtacks in their shoes to get in their big fights. I've never been in a fight in my life. Yeah. So you just kind of start copying, and it freaked my parents out. So they pulled me and all my siblings out of public school. We went to They put me in Fremont Christian School. So I went there junior high and high school, and I absolutely loved high school. And so you either hate it or you love it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was a great experience. There were 63 in my graduating class of 1984. And I still am in contact with the great majority of them. We were very close. My mom and dad were very smart, and they had a pool table. We had one of the first Atari video game systems, ping pong table. And every weekend, what do you want to do this weekend? Let's go to your house. I hated it, but looking back, how smart of them.
Yeah.
So they kept us at the house. All of our friends were there. They knew who we were hanging out with. So we just grew up in a really fun house like that.
It sounded like, well, is there any religious background there? Christian school? Like,
yes. So I was born and raised Presbyterian. My grandparents, of course, were Presbyterian, and the whole family better be Presbyterian. You follow the grandparents. Yeah. And I remember when I was a kid, one service we were at, the pastor went overtime, and my grandma puts her arm up and taps her, watch out him. You went an hour over.
Oh, boy.
So I was around 11, and they called it a fill the pew contest, and it was at an Assembly of God church. And so my grandparents tried it out and then dragged the whole family over, and we all moved over to that church. And it was right around that time they put me in the Christian school, because that was the home church of the school. So we switched to an Assembly of God church, and services certainly weren't 1 hour long. They were, an hour and a half, sometimes two. Lots of activities. You'd go to church on a Sunday, you eat your potluck there, you stay, you go to night church. And so kids got to really grow up where they went to church and hang out with your friends. And so we spent a lot of time there. Yeah.
Assembly of God, I remember that was one of the major churches me and my family went up here. I think Christian Heights. That was where I got baptized growing up. But I remember going to church in Tuolumne with my godfather, a little red church, Methodist church, I think. It's closed down now and renovated. I still got one of the pews, though.
That's cool.
Yeah. Interesting. How about nowadays? Do you go to church now?
So I moved to Modesto, continued raising my kids. I have 3 sons, and so raised them in church. My youngest 2, my middle was born in 2000, so he was probably 4 or 5. We were in church, and this man wandered in, very disheveled, dirty clothes. I mean, he was homeless. It was obvious. And the leaders of the church grabbed him and ushered him out the back door. And I did not like that. That is not what you're supposed to do in a church. He should have been ushered to the front row, and he should have been offered help. And so it was very shortly after that, I took my kids and we started attending what was called Church in the Park at the time. It was very small, but it exploded. And at one time there were 300 people. So we still do that. We've been doing it for 16 years. My family's in charge of the meal once a month. So we buy all the food.
That's your local down Modesto still?
It's in Modesto. Yeah. So we drive down.
You sound like you commute a lot.
I do. Well, just like my mom, this big volunteer. And we'll get into that in a while. But I had some rough things happen to me in my upbringing, and troubled kid. And so the faster you run away from yourself, you don't have to look at your problems. And so I just have stayed very busy all my life, volunteering. And once I worked out my junk, I keep doing it. I keep volunteering. So we call that our home church. I've gone to Sierra Bible Church up here. Visited there a little bit, just kind of with friends, but I'm still dedicated to that church down there. And I love it because I'm not going to give people money. You're not giving them handouts. You're giving them a hand up. So when they go, they can get a haircut. They have bike repair people coming out there.
We're a rubber meets the road kind of church.
Oh, absolutely. And you don't have to attend the service to benefit. A lot of people enjoy the service. And they also have 2 shower shuttles and a laundry shuttle. So every 5 days a week, that ministry is moving around Modesto, letting people shower and clean their clothes. They give them brand new socks and underwear, and they have some clothes too if they need it, launder your clothes. So it's just a really good ministry where they're doing a lot to help people. So that's where I wanted my kids to be. I don't want them to be in the church where they're going to shove the poor guy out the back door that needed them the most.
We don't want a business church. We want a lively church.
And I don't Jesus doesn't care if you're wearing your jeans and your ripped t-shirt. And so everyone's in their suits. And I even did it. I made my kids dress up and wear their best and come to realize that nobody cares, God's not putting a little check mark next to your name because you didn't dress right to church. So we're at the park in jeans and with people, and they come as you are. There's a lot of dogs out there and people smoking their weed off on the corner and whatever. Come as you are. And they're all accepted there. Good. So it's great. And my boys still go back and help me volunteer.
So we jumped around a little bit. Obviously, that was off topic, but high school. And then, so what did you do after high school? What was your goals and stuff?
So, I had a spending addiction most of my life. And
like going shopping?
Oh, yes. Big time. Big time.
So you had to get a sugar daddy, apparently.
No, well, I thought I wanted to shop for a living. So right out of high school, I went to the Fashion Institute in San Francisco. Yeah. And I completed an AA there and thought I was going to be the next Macy's shopper, the big. Okay. But no, it doesn't work that way. I was a retail, I worked a retail manager instead.
That's where you get all the good deals, right? Because you're the
for sure. Yeah.
I like this. I'm gonna put that away for layaway.
Bring it back.
Layaway back then.
That's right. Yeah. Exactly. So I did that, and then kind of plucked away at college classes. Didn't get really serious about college after the AA until I had my son. And when
you had a relationship in there too, would you?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes. Got married.
Did you know him in high school?
No, I met him on the job. Everyone I've ever been with, I meet on the job. It's very strange.
Okay.
Yeah. So meet him on the job. And so, met him on the job. We got married.
So he realized you had a spending problem.
Well,
he knew.
No, we hide it from you guys real good. Is that a new dress? No, I've had that dress for a long time. Yeah. Rip the tags off and hang it up real quick.
Yeah, return it, after.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and he kind of let me drive the bus more or less. So he didn't. Yeah. It was more in my younger days. When you have difficulties, I had some abuse in my life, and it wasn't at the hands of my parents. It was a family member, but you're going to respond in some way. You're going to, a lot of people turn to drugs and alcohol. A lot of people turn to even lying and being promiscuous and all these different things. And so I turned to spending. I felt really good if I had new clothes on all the time. Yeah. And it's very expensive to do that. Yeah. So I would rack up credit card bills and just get myself in trouble. So,
what's your husband? Get yourself in trouble.
Even before him, it was a big issue. Yeah, even with him, we had to file bankruptcy, and that's all on me because I would love buying bags of stuff and looking it out, and you get your big jollies looking at your stuff. Yeah. Well, your jollies are over in 5 minutes, and so now you have to go. It's
repeat. Like with any addiction, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And that's why we'll get to that too. But that's what led me to doing what I do for a living.
So mid 80s, you're in retail. When did you start changing it up after that?
I stuck with retail and then figured it'd be, I thought I need to figure out retirement, figure out my future. And so I started looking to county public jobs. So I worked for a fire department for a while. And then I ended up working at New United Motors for a while. That's Tesla now.
Wow. So United Motors.
New United Motors. They made Geoprisms and Toyota Corollas on that line.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was before I had my son, but just kind of after I did my AA, retail wasn't cutting it. I didn't love it. And so New United Motors was the first big job after retail.
And you were in Modesto, or you're still in the Bay Area?
Bay Area. Still in the Bay Area.
Late 80s?
This was around 90. Okay. Late 80s, 90. Yeah. Then my mom dies. So my mom passed away in 1990. She was 46. I was 24. And I lost it. I just quit my job at New United Motors. I changed my friend group, and I went to work managing a restaurant.
Well, that's a big, shift. What?
When bad things happen to me, I make massive changes in my life, including chopping my hair off. So and I'm doing good if my hair's long, so I chop off my hair. My mom dies. My poor dad's, alone now, and I'm living with him still.
Yeah. Well, you're expressing your grief. That is kind of an old tradition. to chop off someone's hair, because I'm more Torah observant, and that's a big thing. Like if you're grieving,
Yeah. That makes sense. I never thought about that way before.
Really old tradition.
Yeah, every time anything bad happened in my life, the hair goes. I make new goals. I, get back on my feet, cut the hair off. Yeah. And I don't look good with real short hair. So I really need to stop doing that. And I grew up in the Bay Area, and I know they have to train kids to how to
hide under a desk.
Yes, but they paranoid you. I was terrified of earthquakes because of that. Every couple months, get under the desk, cover your neck.
Oh, geez.
You're convinced
you're traumatizing kids.
Yeah. I mean, I was convinced I was going to die.
Oh, my God.
And so this earthquake happens, and my training, get under a door jamb.
So what was happening? Things fall down? I mean, what?
Yeah, I was inside New United Motors, and a couple cars came dislodged from their carriers. So I was in the maintenance department. I was a dispatcher. So I sat right in front of the engine mount, on the line where they put the engines in. So the cars go up high, and people work with their hands overhead.
Yeah.
Some cars dislodged, and then fluorescents were popping, and you'd see the little, sparks here and there coming down, because all these electronics are just shaking around.
Yeah.
I run and jump under the door jamb and realize, idiot, you're in an aluminum building in the middle of a car plant.
Oh gosh.
So I got over to a support beam is what a bunch of us did. And it didn't last long, but it's so scary in a building that size. Did
you feel like you were like the floor going up?
Yep. You felt the floor up and down and then back and forth. So
whoa.
It was, and everyone remembers, everyone knows where you were in 9/11. Everyone knows where you were in that earthquake. So yeah, I absolutely remember it. And I knew that my mom had cancer and she was home alone. So I called her, "Are you okay?" So she took herself into her bedroom and stood under a door jamb. She was fine, but yeah, that was the first thing I could do. I guess as soon as I can get to a phone call and check on my mom.
When I think of like this, like disaster during that time, which I was really little at the time, I think I was only like 6 or 7, and the bridge had collapsed, right? And people had
Cypress
died and things. But was there any other major like buildings fall down, or is it just mainly the bridge?
You had a chunk of the Bay Bridge just fell out, a big piece of that, and then the Cypress Bridge in Oakland collapsed. The top level collapsed onto the second, and there were a lot of cars trapped in there. I have a cousin who was a cop in Oakland at the time. They would lean ladders up on that overpass and send them up in there crawling in to help get people out. And at first they were pulling people out, and then just the story she tells about is really sad. You'd hear people, begging to get out.
This is the first time I ever talked to anybody that was like, there.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then imagine after, a lot of people died because it completely crushed their cars, or they were trapped and you couldn't get them out in time. Oh, wow. And so eventually the smell's not real pretty. You're still trying to rescue after 3 or 4 days. So it really affected her having to crawl up in there and help with that rescue.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of flashbacks of Iraq and dealing with people that haven't been around bodies like that. It's something that you'll never forget, and it's horrendous. Yeah. And talked about it with other candidates of like PTSD comes up. I'm a veteran, but police officers and EMTs and firefighters dealing with this on a daily basis. Yeah. And wow,
you get a little used to it after a while. I mean, I hear horrific things in my job, and you get to where you're like, nothing shocks me anymore. So
you had a little change up. Your mom passes away, and obviously you knew about it. The cancer had come on for a while, and so you changed things up. And what job did you go to after that?
I quit my great job at New United Motors.
Yeah, right.
Paid well, benefits, and I went and managed a little restaurant. I had a friend told me they were looking for a manager, and so I forgot to mention part of the volunteer work. My mom forced us into labor at catering when we were young. So, and I'm very grateful for it. But so I knew how to do food anyway. So I got this job.
Hospitality is special.
I love it. You're schmoozing all day. You work in the tables, and it's a lot of fun. And it took my mind off of my mom passing away, because I sat at my dispatcher job and wait for a breakdown on the line to happen. Well, now I was really busy in a restaurant dealing with customers. And
what was your husband up to during this time?
We weren't married just yet.
Oh.
Yeah, we weren't married yet. So,
but you had kids, right?
We did. Our son was born in 93 and we got married in 96.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, out of order. Yeah. So, and actually I met him working at this restaurant. That's where I met him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the kitchen managers and I was a floor manager. And of course, we actually just started hanging out. He was from Mexico and he spoke English. He was here legally and everything, but he didn't speak great English. And so we had a lot of fun teaching him that certain words meant something else. So he'd go around saying some horrific bad word out loud and he had no idea. Because, he learned the nice English talking, not the bad stuff.
Where were you staying when you're at United? Were you living with your mom?
I lived with I'd moved out, and then when I found out my mom had cancer, I moved back in.
Yeah.
So my sister and I owned a condo together, and we lived in that. But when we found out she was sick, we both came back home, and then I stayed after she died. I stayed for a few years just to be with my dad. So working at the restaurant there, met my future husband. Yeah. So
how did going into the late 90s and the 2000s, what was the next change up in your life?
Well, we get married. I think our son was 3, not quite 3, because I said, if we're not married by the time he's 3, I'm not doing it. So,
oh boy.
Yeah. So we get married. And then the market, we were renting a home and I realized, and don't I wish I'd bought it at the time. This house we were renting in the Bay Area went up for sale for $250,000. And I just thought, there's just no way. And so we packed up and moved to Modesto, where you can get a brand new house for $100,000. Wow. Don't I wish we'd have sacrificed and bought that house back then? Because it's probably worth well over $1 million.
Oh yeah.
And so moved to Modesto where we could afford it better. He was a welder, so he was able to work anywhere he went. Found a good job.
He'd always been a welder and he was just doing restaurant work?
We did restaurant work, and then his brother ended up being a welder and kind of recruited him in and taught him. And so then he ended up being an industrial welder. He welded I-beams and big industrial things.
And that's good job.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He had a real good job. And so when we moved to Modesto, I went back to school. Actually at Cal State Hayward. I was driving from Modesto back to Hayward and I didn't work. So he took care of the family, welding, outstanding dad. He would come home from a hard day at work and take our one son at the time. Then we had 2 more. He would take them to the park, flying kites. He was a great dad, supported me in going to school, wanted me to stay home with the kids.
Nice.
And student loans helped me shop. Honestly, like I was paying for tuition, but I racked up quite a bit of student loan debt because at the time, keeping up with the Joneses.
Student loans back then was not really heard of.
It wasn't horrible. I borrowed $5,500 to go to the Fashion Institute, and I had it paid off before. It didn't take long to pay it off at all.
Yeah.
And so then going to Cal State Hayward, though, I couldn't pass math. And so I don't know how many units you need for your degree, but I have 226
Probably algebra,
units.
Right? I hate algebra.
Algebra.
Like, this is insane.
Horrible.
Yeah.
It's what caused me to drop out of school. I kept taking remedial and failing the remedial, and I just said, forget it. So 226, I think that's probably enough to get.
I had a hard time in high school. And then when you go back to college, you want you to do it again because obviously you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a reason. And the educational system like this is a racket.
Well, and if anything bends my brain, like I don't care what that equals, and I don't give a rip what Z.
I still haven't used. I look basic algebra. Like, okay, if you put a number on this side and a number on this side, just what's this number to get that? That's basic. Right. I get it. That's everybody should know that. It's normal common sense.
Yes.
Anything beyond that, like, no, what's going on here?
Right. And when do I need to use that ever?
Yeah.
So
letters to the powers. What's going on here?
Right. Who cares? Right. I'm not going to be an engineer. Who cares?
Yeah.
And at the time I wanted to be a teacher is what I was in school for.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So
So you dropped out because of math.
Dropped out because of math. And what did I do after that? I was just home with my kids. I'd had 2 more by then. One was born in 2000 and the other one was born in 2001. And people always say, same dad, because the kids are like 7 years apart, my first and second. Yes, same dad. We ended up getting divorced because he had a work injury. He was welding and hopped out of some giant thing he was welding and had a knee surgery. Well, this is at the beginning of that opioid crisis. We had no idea. He has his knee surgery in 2000. It must be in 2002.
Yeah.
They put him on Vicodin. We didn't know, right? They just kept, knee still hurts. They kept upping it. And then he needed a second surgery. So he was on it. And then all of a sudden your treatment's over and they take away the prescriptions. We didn't know. I've since watched the documentary on Vicodin and all those. And the manufacturer tricked you. They told the doctors, just up it. It's not addictive. So we didn't know. We just trusted the doctors. I had no idea. That's on
my list of, I call it allergies. I'm not allergic to it, but it made me, about 2001, this was 2003. We were getting ready to go to Iraq and I had my teeth pulled and they gave me Vicodin and it made me hallucinate.
Yeah.
And, I don't do that.
No, it's scary. For me, it makes me, I jitter. Like I just can't sit still. And you have these involuntary movements. So whenever I've taken it, I'll just, for whatever, a surgery
it's different,
Yeah. And then I would just, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not taking that stuff.
Yeah.
But he was hooked and I didn't know. And then little by little, he's kind of disappearing for a day or two. And,
really,
so we go to the pastor. I'm like, what's going on? We're in trouble. He's disappearing. And, well, fast forward a few months, he got himself hooked on other things because he couldn't get the Vicodin anymore.
Yeah.
So I told him I have 3 husbands in training and I can't let these boys think that that's what a dad is. I told him to go and get himself, go to rehab, go get himself well, and we want you back. He couldn't do it. He checked into a couple different rehabs and he just couldn't. So he ended up with his family back in the Bay Area. And to this day, I have all respect for him. I still care about him greatly, but he just couldn't. He couldn't get it together. Yeah. So he struggles with alcoholism now. He did finally lick the drugs, but because he kept getting in so much trouble, he got arrested several times. So immigration, and I used to bug him. I said, you need to be a citizen, and I'm not giving up my Mexican citizenship. And so they took his green card and gave him a one-way plane trip. Luckily for him, dropped him in Tijuana. He called me from there and they dumped me in Tijuana. And I'm like, well, what do you want? A limo ride to Mexico City? So
man,
and it was just a sad story. He's an outstanding dad, a fantastic support to me. We had the most fun relationship. We camped. He had a motorcycle, and we would just be out on that. And we had just a great time together. But I couldn't have that around my kids.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my mom was kind of the same way. My mom and my dad, my real dad, were together for like 10 years. But coming out, he wasn't in Vietnam, but he had uncles from Vietnam. And that kind of brought him into a drug scene. And he was driving truck. And that's a whole nother scene.
Yeah.
And then I come along and my mom's like, you got to stop. And he couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Same thing. My mom's like, I know you can't be here.
And it's sad because just, the love of your family or the love of things you might lose, it's not enough. When you have an addiction, you've got to get some serious, deep treatment and then have a lot of support after. And he just, he's a grown man. His family, he was back with his family and sisters, and he would be homeless sometimes. They would get tired of how he was acting, and it was heartbreaking, and he ended up getting a girlfriend, and I'd still welcome them, come to our house, come have dinner, and he's in the Bay Area, coming back to Modesto, come watch the football games with the kids, and that was before he ended up getting deported. So I tried to be the best mom I could to my kids by giving him all access possible.
What was your support like without him?
I had my sister and my brother, my best friend who also died of cancer eventually, but she was a big support too. So I was supporting my kid. I hadn't worked. He wanted me home with the kids and I didn't work. And so we were...
So even during the separation, he still supported?
No, that's when I had to run out and get myself a job real quick.
Yeah.
So I went and did deaf relay operator for a while.
Deaf relay?
Yeah.
What is that?
People who can't hear.
Oh, deaf
relay. Yeah.
Okay.
They would use a TTY machine, but I did it. It was over the internet. And so people would call and I would be the middle person. And I would have to tell you, don't talk directly to me, direct all your conversation to the person. And I would relay literally every word they said to the person they could hear. And I would type what the other person could hear to them.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing I did out of.
Was that like an internet-based, like home-based kind of thing?
I was in a big call center.
Call center.
Yes. And we all sat and there were some people that were on, served people who were on a machine, like that TTY machine. I don't even know what that stands for. That's so bad.
It's all right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of acronyms out there.
So some people at home would have their TTY machine and then you could use it. You call in on the phone and it would ring to people on a computer. But I was doing it for people computer to computer because by that time, that's how it worked, computer to computer. So the deaf person would type everything, I would read it, and then I would type everything the hearing person.
What years was this before?
This was, let's see, my middle son was about 2, so it was 03. 03. Yeah. So he had to move out and try to go get himself together. I did that at nighttime. I had a friend who came and stayed with my
technology
kids.
was really taken off,
Yes.
Cell phones was a big thing that had just come out a few years before that, and really internet's starting to kick off. Yeah. And computers, yeah.
So I'd have someone sit with my kids at night. A neighbor who actually worked at New United Motors.
Oh, wow.
He had me watch his son. So on my days off, his son would sleep at our house. I made some money like that, doing the deaf relay, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And they did order child support, but they ordered so much. It was excessive. And I said, what's he supposed to do? Live in his car and watch us sleep in his house?
Yeah, the system is pretty
terrible.
Horrible.
And I don't know, a lot of people ding me for it. I think men get the short end of the stick oftentimes.
Sometimes. I remember my dad, I was well into my 20s. And my dad was still paying off debt from child support from 20 years ago in 1983, 84, 85, because of the interest. Like the child support had already been paid off. Now he's just paying off the interest to the state.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was, oh my gosh.
Well, and my ex-husband was ordered to pay and the county collects it for you. And so same thing. And he couldn't. He ended up not able to work and, he was drug addicted. And so the order was still there, but I don't know. I think he owes me something like $80,000. But I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm okay. I raise my kids. And so I get where women want to go and collect on some of that because I did it all. I paid for the football. I even had them in Christian school for a while.
Yeah.
I did that and it's very expensive, but I did it, and it doesn't cost as much as they wanted him to pay to raise those kids.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes they were ordering, $500 per kid and it doesn't cost me that. The roof's already over my head,
Yeah.
So I have more compassion than some would. And so I get it. If you have a man who did not pay anything to support the kids, you need to kick down and help out. But I understand that he wasn't able. I'm not going to chase him for the rest of his life to make him pay me. I mean, I've progressed. I'm okay. My kids are grown. They're fantastic humans. And so I have no intention on ever asking for that.
Yeah, for sure.
And if the time comes and he wants to pay it or help out, give it to your sons. Mm-hmm. Do something nice for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's for our kids.
Yeah.
So, we're in 2003, 4, 6. What?
We're around 2003, 4, 9/11 happens. I was pregnant with my son too. We were still together at that time, but that's another thing you remember. I was sitting on my bed, pregnant with the third child. Like, exactly where you are. But anyway, fast forward, he was almost 3. So that would have been around almost 2004. I couldn't afford the home we were in. I moved my kids to a 2-bedroom apartment.
So you had a mortgage and a home and everything?
We rented.
We
rented.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you went from renting a home to renting an apartment.
Yeah. And I was on my own and it was a tiny little place. So I gave my oldest son, he was probably 12 at the time.
One of our first apartments when my wife graduated, we moved in together, was was where Lacey Peterson, we actually saw her walking on the road in the mornings and stuff. My wife remembers it a lot more than I do. And so we were on that side of Modesto.
La Loma area then.
Yeah. And then we got in a more closer apartment, more towards the freeway, northern part. And I was commuting to Livermore and back. Okay. My first duty station was out in Livermore. They have a military base out there. Is
it near the jail?
I'm not sure where the federal jail. There's a
Santa Rita
federal women's jail. Is on the base.
Okay.
That's the jail you're talking about. There's a women's prison there on the base in Livermore.
My oldest son was a Sea Cadet for a while, and he'd go do his tour of duty or whatever they would call it. His training out on a military base out there in Livermore.
Yeah, so I helped out Sea Cadets there for a little while when I was in Modesto. That was fun.
I wanted him so bad to follow it through, and he did. He loved it, but he came the time where he's like, "Nope, I'm done."
Any of your family members go in the military?
So my birth father, he was in the Army. He was, and I don't know him. I met him when I was like 33. But I have a cousin who was in the Marines. And he was in Desert Storm. He came out, and it was difficult for him mentally to have seen what he saw and to come out. So he went to school, got a degree, and went back in the Army Special Forces. And so, because he just had a hard time with civilian life after seeing what he saw.
Oh, yeah.
And so as Special Forces, he was a trainer. He was a sniper. He went on all these different missions. We don't know much about North Africa mostly. And that's what he did. So he was the only one. My son was supposed to go in the Air Force, and he ruined all my hopes and dreams and got a girlfriend. So he didn't go in the Air Force after all. So he was going to.
Yeah.
So other than that, no, I'm just like, close to people, but not anyone immediate with me.
So what was another big change up after moving in the apartment and getting in the late 2000s?
Well, we moved to the apartment, and I had to get a job, a full-time job, but I didn't want my kids to feel like they didn't have family. They already lost half, their parent. Their dad was not around. And so I got a job teaching at Modesto Christian High School. So I was a Spanish speech and debate teacher there for 3 years.
So you had you had an A from San Francisco?
I had an A from San Francisco.
But then you couldn't get the other education because of the math?
Couldn't finish the math. And so
for the AA, you still had to have some math courses, I'm sure.
Accounting.
Yeah,
that was it.
Wow.
And so for Modesto Christian, because it's a private school, you don't have to be credentialed.
Yeah.
I had 226 units of college.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah. It's like enough to get 2 degrees because it was on the quarter system, not the semester. I had so many units. Yeah. So I went to work at Modesto Christian, put my kids in that school, and I taught for 3 years. So after school, they could come over to my classroom and hang out there. I had access to the after school program. So the younger 2 would go to the after school program and get their homework done. And so I did that for about 3 years. It didn't pay much. It paid $2,400 a month. Is that right? $2,000 a month. $2,000 a month. And so we were in our little apartment, and my oldest son had his own room. I let the other 2 share with me because I wanted him to be impacted the least.
Yeah.
He had his own great life, and so I just wanted his life to resemble what it did before, with his own bedroom and his computer, and the younger 2 shared with me. So doing that for 3 years, I wasn't making it. I had a car, an old Saturn. It had a blown engine. So we'd drive that thing with the blown engine, and I'd roll up to a stoplight and just pray that it turns green, because if I idle too long, it's going to overheat. And, so
I remember those days too. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Had to deal with that. And so I went from there to manage a charter school. I was the business manager of a charter school in Stockton.
So you go from to teaching, but now you're managing now.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so, but I was paranoid because my kids had never been in public school before. So I found a charter school for my oldest. He was starting high school, found a nice nerdy charter school in Modesto for him. It turned out to be a great move, really good school. He had a good experience there. And then I took the other 2 with me to Stockton to the charter school. And so they went to school there.
Nice.
Until until the market crashed, 2008.
Yeah.
The market crashed. People were losing their jobs. It was around 2009. I didn't realize that the assistant I had could do my job. And so I got laid off from my job. And then they just kind of had the assistant do the work there. So I got laid off from that job after, I think I did it for about three years, more than that, 3 or 4 years. And so then I went to Manteca Unified School District. So it put me a little bit closer to home. I transferred my kids. It's Aspire Public Schools. And so they're all over the Bay Area and the Valley. So I transferred my kids to the younger two to Aspire in Modesto. And then I worked in Manteca.
Nice.
Yeah. And then there in Manteca, I worked in the teacher development department where they work with credentialed teachers. And here I wanted to be a teacher so bad.
Yeah.
Here I am helping clear credentials for other teachers. Yeah. And so, so that kind of motivated me to go back to school.
Got to get that math down.
Got to get the math down.
It's like I'd sit down with the teacher and go, "Hey, look, what do we got to do here?" You know, adult. You know,
yeah, I can't.
When I was 30, and I was like, "Man, I'm an adult. I got kids. Like, don't treat me like a student." Like,
it's horrible. Well, I'm in my upper mid 40s by then. I bought my first home at 42 when I went to work at the charter school. I had a nice salary by then and bought my first home. Nice. It was in a area of Modesto. It wasn't the worst.
Yourself too.
By myself. And that's one thing that, like when my ex-husband and I split up, chopped my hair off, went on this big quest for self-improvement, bought a home. And I don't do New Year's resolutions. I make lists of goals. And if I do it this year, great. And if I don't, it's going to roll over. So on that list was to buy a home, finish school. I wanted to find a new church for my kids, something that they would like. So I did it. I met my goals. I bought my home and got rid of the car. Oh, I forgot to say I did some loans in between there. I went and got my real estate license.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah, real estate, like side work here.
Yeah, so I get divorced. I'm doing debt free. Like that's how I got by then. Yeah. I went to work in the mortgage business. So I was doing mortgages for a while. And so I was able to do my own deal on my house.
We got a lot of realtors in this race.
Huh? We do. Well, but I don't claim to be a realtor. That's one of my little, you know. I don't.
You did it for a little while.
I had my license for about 9 years.
Wow.
Back then, but the market crash. That's what happened. The market crash pushed me into being a teacher, then pushed me to the next step to being at the charter school. But yeah, I was able to do my own home deal and save on all that commission.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I used a friend of mine did it through her office, so I paid her. I don't know. I think $2,000 total for using the use of her license. Yeah. And then my commission that I charged, because I was the buyer, the seller paid my commission right to me, and that went right straight toward my down payment.
Wow.
So I bought this little 1,008 square foot home, 3 bedroom, 2 bath. So it had all the things I needed, but it was little, and raised my kids in that house.
Get low maintenance and all that good stuff.
Low maintenance. And I always look for a place with good bones. If you've got a good roof, and, the bones are good, I can do the cosmetics. So over the years, I replaced all the windows and remodeled the bathrooms and little by little fixed that place up.
Yeah. And you still have it now?
No, I had the house. That's when I moved up here. So I raised my boys in that house. I visited the foothills a lot as a kid. The step siblings lived in Jackson. And so we'd be in Jackson a lot. We'd be over on this side a lot, Columbia, hanging out there. And I loved it. And I knew one day I'd live in a rural area. I just knew. And so I'm in my home in Modesto. Well, we skipped when I went back to school, though.
Well, you were just about getting into it, and I think I got you sidetracked.
Yeah, okay.
Because you're doing all the credentials for all the teachers.
I know, I'm all over the place.
No, we're pretty good, considering.
Okay, so I'm helping other teachers clear their credentials. Well, it was about this time that I decided I wasn't a shopaholic anymore. I had to knock that off raising my kids.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
But I had to go back and address the reasons that sent me down that path and caused some difficulties for me. So I got involved in Celebrate Recovery, and I didn't have a substance issue, but, other life issues. So I completed the program. Then I started leading the program. And this whole time I'm working at Manteca Unified School District. So,
and then you got this heart because your ex-husband too. Like,
oh, absolutely.
You just, man, how can I help them?
Yeah.
Because when you love somebody, you love somebody. It don't matter how time goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Well, and as we talk a little more, I mean, you look at someone's history and how they came to be. He grew up in a home that was very abusive. His dad beat the living heck out of his mom, and he witnessed that. And mom had 7 children and very poor. And so that's how he grew up. And so, you know, that led him down his path of addiction and things. But for me, it was time to work through and just low self-esteem. And
I feel like I'm really kind of hitting that peak in my life. I'm 42 now. And I think this is around the same time. It's just like, after you lived your first life, now it's kind of like, okay, how do I go forward and not bring that baggage anymore? And actually, I'm going to work on fixing this stuff.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
And so when I go through Celebrate Recovery, I recognize that so many people help me. Well, I have to give back and help other people. And became a volunteer. I would lead their groups. It was so hard I'm a talker. And so you have to sit in this room and nobody talks. I mean, I can't prompt anyone. You just sit there. And it killed me. It was so quiet sometimes that I'm looking at the clock, 12 minutes, no one's saying anything.
Is that part of the program? Is this like quiet time?
No, you're in a circle and you're just doing group. And so, but I'm not here to fix you. I'm here to facilitate it. And so if nobody has anything to say, you just sit there till the hour's done. Yeah. And it didn't happen a lot, but it's really painful for me to sit there and be quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I had to learn how to do that. And then they tapped me for the jail ministry. So I was going into Stanislaus jail.
Females or mixed?
The females.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd go in there with the women. And I absolutely loved it because, and that's who I work with today often.
I think it would benefit a lot of people to go visit a jail.
Oh, for sure.
Prison.
For sure.
I visited the local veterans down in the prison down in off a ferry road.
Oh, okay.
Ward's Ferry Road, and visiting the veterans in there and it's like a whole different world. Mm-hmm. They're in a different world.
Yeah,
and it's sad, it's scary, and understanding that people are going through that. Like, oh my gosh.
Well, you walk in and you have these people that are hard, and they're just like I'm not going to say anything. And so I tell them.
And all the trauma they've gone through to even be in that spot.
Well, and they don't want to admit it. They don't want to look at it, Yeah. So I would tell the women, if you're not crying by the time we're done today, you didn't work hard enough. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I made them cry. It's that I want the story. Yeah. Tell me your story. Yeah. And this one woman, she was in there. I don't even remember why she was in there, but she remembered back to when she was 10 years old. Mom was passed out on drugs on the couch. She was so worried about her. She's 10. Her and her siblings drag her mom into the car. And this girl's 10 years old and drove the car. She drove her mother to the hospital. And she was just crying, remembering that story. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so every hardened person, every shell you see, this hard exterior, that little kid is in there.
Oh, yeah.
That kid that was treated wrong or abused or not loved the way they should have been, they're still in there. Oh, yeah. And so that's what I absolutely love doing. They can show me this hard exterior, but I know that little kid is in there somewhere and we're going to find them.
Oh, yeah.
So I just fell in love with that. And through my training with Celebrate Recovery, I was at a seminar and this guy plugged his master's program. And he's a counselor. And I said, that's what I'm going to do. So I had to jump into Chapman University, knock out my bachelor's degree, 226 units. I couldn't get back into Cal State Hayward for like 6 months. You have to apply and wait. I can't do that. So I asked Chapman, what is the quickest way to a bachelor's degree? So it's a degree called Applied Studies. It's basically a degree in nothing so that you can have it in hand and go on. Mm-hmm. So I got that. I took statistics and had someone help me with that piece of math. Got the bachelor's and then got into this guy's master's program.
Nice.
And I finished my master's degree when I was 52 years old.
Congratulations.
So, and it reminds me back to my grandma. She was 52 when she finally went, did that thing for herself and got her real estate license. And so made me feel really happy that, it's never too late ever. And I just thought it was cool. My grandma did it later in life, and dang it, I'm going to do it later in life too.
It's nice to have those connections.
Yeah.
It's coming full circle, and you realize it. Yeah.
It was cool.
So we're like what, early teens? You got your bachelor's or mid teens?
In my teens?
No, 2000. 2000.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me think. I got my bachelor's in 2015, and then I finished my master's in 2018, and I got it from Concordia University in Irvine.
Nice.
So did the master's degree, dragged my kids down there because I didn't walk for my bachelor's. I didn't care about that, but master's, I'm walking.
Yeah.
Took my kids down there with me, and then we took a cruise right after, just to celebrate and relax. And
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so now we're getting late teens. Where are we after your bachelor's? Now, what are you doing?
I got my master's in 2018, and in 2019, I applied for Stanislaus behavioral health.
Okay.
I went to work as a counselor, and I'm so thankful for my experience there. There's a thing called Full Service Partnership, FSP. I didn't know any different. That was my first experience in behavioral health. I didn't even know behavioral health was a thing until I found a job doing it. The most severely mentally ill. I find myself inside the psych hospitals, inside the jail. I was inside locked facilities where people were conserved. But I just loved it because I want to help people. And I always make jokes about, I don't want to deal with the soccer mom who's like whining that her kids get picked for the team. I don't care about that. I want that deep, serious, hurt, crushed kid who was probably taken by CWS 10 times. And that's who I encountered with behavioral health. And the program I was in, it was a 24/7 program. And I had a great manager. She taught me how to work, and she trusted us. She said, if you make a mistake,
have to trust people in this.
Yeah. And I was always afraid I'd blow it. And she said, you do what you think is best. And if you blow it, we'll talk about it later. She just really gave us the freedom to practice our craft in our own way. My job was very field-based. I had to do a lot of case management. Lots of clients who were schizophrenic. Lots of clients who had bipolar disorder, so really severe people. And I'm so grateful for that experience. Because we, now where I'm at now, you have interns coming in who are pretty nervous about that population. I said, no, nothing scary about that.
What about your healing process and all this?
So I could have touched that. Well, I could have either paid a big mountain of money for paying a shrink to heal thyself, or I could pay for a master's degree.
Okay.
And so in my program, they made us do a lot of process groups. We would have to.
So you're working through your stuff as you're studying.
Yes.
I tried. It was after COVID, 2022 or so. I tried to go do some child development out at Columbia College, and they had like free courses, free in the institution. I was trying to get people in there, and I couldn't hang. After about a month, it was like, okay, I'm already an adult. I'm raising a kid myself, but now I'm looking at like my childhood stuff, and I'm like, whoa, this is a little too much for me. I don't know if it was my PTSD. I couldn't do it. I couldn't hang because I wanted to get more interested in what my son's doing at school, and I thought maybe I could, TA or whatever, but it was too much. And
was it what you were learning that was too much?
Like, how they were. I'm not sure if it was the learning or what it was. It was you really started talking about childhood and development, it was the basic course, childhood and development. And it started talking about, raising kids and how that affects them. And it just kind of just triggered me a little bit because I never really thought about it, never really dealt with it again, and I was thinking constantly, I'm battling my PTSD or I'm battling what I experienced in the military. Well, that's just one part of it.
Yeah.
It was the childhood, that shapes. It made me a better soldier, but it was the trauma making you grow up fast, be more responsible, being the oldest kid, my two youngest half siblings. All that just made me a great candidate to be a soldier. Now we're just going to give you more trauma, to go along with it. So For many years I thought it was my military stuff, but I didn't know it was more and more in child development, pointing out some things, and it's like, oh yeah, this is way over here.
Yeah.
As a child. And just even this past month, I've talked to my own therapist. I love my therapist. I've been with my therapist for better part of 8 years.
Oh, wow.
She's a major part of my life, and I don't care whether the VA pays for it or not. That's my person, And we're starting to get into the childhood stuff and trying to, where is that coming from? And man,
it's tough.
Yeah, it is. And
when you get into your own stuff, then I don't know how old your child is.
My son's going to be 13 this summer. Yeah.
So for me, going through the masters, I'd come home like, okay, I found out another way. I messed you guys up.
Yes.
We'd have to talk about it,
Oh my God.
And they got sick of hearing it. They're like, it's fine, but my mom yelled at us.
You don't think about it. It's the default that comes out in a bad situation as you're an adult.
Yes.
It's that default child that comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. And it's hard to see where our parents failed us in certain ways, and then they're like, oh crap, I did that to my kids.
I kind of gone through a period of getting mad at my parents. Like, you didn't take care of your baggage, gave it to me. Now it's bled into my relationships.
Yes.
And caused me problems. Now I'm trying to fix baggage that you didn't fix to try and make sure my son doesn't have to fix it.
Right.
This cycle. Break the cycle. Break the cycle.
But if you're far enough to where you can give your parents some grace, I'll do with clients, I'll say that we don't do it right away, but I say eventually we're going to go back and look at what happened to them. And so whatever happened to me or to you wasn't good, and it's horrible and terrible. But there's a reason those people did what they did, because they were screwed up too. And so, you said you've been involved in churches and things. The Bible talks about the sins of the father. Well, it doesn't mean if my dad robs a bank, I have to go to jail. It means my dad's trauma is going to keep visiting on me, and it's going to visit on the next until somebody fixes it.
Yeah.
And when I went through school and discovered things that I had done to my kids, I told them, I can put all the tools on the table to help you guys, but I can't make you use those tools. So it really is. It was my burden to fix that generational garbage that was dumped on me, not intentionally. There's no way any parent goes out and says, let me screw up my kid real good. They can't help it.
I told myself as a child, I'm never going to be like my dad. I'm never going to be like my dad. I'm never going to be like my parents. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to. Millions of times I told myself that. And it didn't help.
No.
Here I am at 30, at mid-30s. I'm realizing I'm doing exactly what I told myself I wouldn't do as a child. And it's because it's just default.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, it's all you know. And it's so like a kid who was raised in a drug home, for example, and they sit in front of me and their kids were taken by CWS. They were too. Their parents did drugs. You are too. When you're taught bad coping skills, it's all you've got. And so when you're raised with people with horrible coping skills, of course, they're going to pass those on to you. And that's why we do the same stuff that our parents did. These terrible coping skills were passed down, whether that be default to drinking or drugs or, whatever it is. That's what we learned, how to deal with our stuff. So we have to reprogram our brain and learn a new way.
Did you ever figure out you stopped spending money because you had a situation where you had to take care of your kids, but was that ever dealt with? Did you ever figure that? Well,
I stopped because I just couldn't afford it anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I went from having my husband's nice welding salary and not a job to I'm supporting these kids on $2,000 a month. I just couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
I would certainly get my big thrill off of buying their school clothes or, right. You'd go out and, buy the big grocery haul and I'm all excited about that. I've outgrown it now and I didn't have to do any work to do it. It just kind of fell away for some reason. I'm fortunate. I have filed bankruptcy twice in my life. Once when I was 21 and then again after I was married. Yeah. So it was rough that I just didn't learn. And what that taught me is to not judge what you see in people, because it would be real easy to look at someone like, oh, well, they lost their home or whatever. Well, there's a reason. That was my addiction. That was my default response to trauma in my life.
Yeah.
And so doing this profession that I do now, you don't look at somebody. You're like, you can't judge somebody. You have no idea why they're that way. Why is this person falling down an alcoholic in the street? My ex-husband, watched his dad beat his mom. That was his response. Yeah. And his dad was an alcoholic, and so was his grandfather. So you pass those coping skills down.
I can track my family trauma all the way back to the 1900s.
Yeah.
Because of my great-great-grandfather. And it just went...
Yeah.
And then... Yeah.
And someone's got to be the one to break it. And it sounds like you're working hard
I'm
to
trying,
be the one.
I'm trying definitely at this. And it, like, just recognizing it and seeing that, hey, this needs to be fixed because it hasn't been recognized the last 3 generations. They thought it was all normal, and it was just, they just kept working and ignored it.
Exactly.
We're in a day and age. I hope that we're gonna get a handle on this stuff because mental health. Think about it now. We've had this mental health crisis for probably better part of 20 years that I'm aware of. Yeah. It probably goes further, but that comes from these generations, right? The boomers. I'm sorry, and the greatest generation. Yeah. We're still dealing with all that.
Well, and they came from a time where you don't talk about it, so you just suck it up. Oh, talking about Vietnam, we had some neighbors. They're probably 8 or 9 years older than me. They came back from Vietnam, drug addicts, alcoholics. Yeah. I watched one of them. We were driving to my grandma's house. I'm like a 10-year-old little kid, and one of them was out in the front yard beating his wife, banging her head on the hood. My mom pulls over, yells at him. She knew him. Yeah. Like, that's all this stuff that came back from that war with these people. And they didn't have an outlet. They didn't have anyone to turn to help them with it. So they turned to drinking and drugs and, started that cycle.
I being big on 22, veterans, suicide, stuff like that, there's something to be said there about behavior. Because it's not just someone killed themselves or self-alive themselves or whatever they want to say on YouTube. But the suicidal behavior, like speeding fast, overdoing things, not caring about your safety, is that perpetuates that type of behavior. And we've seen that a lot in the Vietnam vets. And we'll never know the true numbers of what that is.
No. Because they're, a lot of them don't want to talk about it. Yeah. They just want, like my cousin, he came back and struggled so much with it. He had to go back in because he just couldn't live in a normal world.
And I've also often said that too, to describe a veteran, it's like a police dog. It's trained to do this, and it's always going to be that. Yeah. And when it is retired, it has to go to a special home that understands how to be with that police dog, Yeah. Same thing with veterans for the most part. Yeah. It's the whole, the childhood trauma, then going into the military and basic training wasn't hard for me, mainly because I was raised by a Vietnam veteran. And he was a lot harder on me than the drill sergeants were, but they still, the whole idea behind basic training is to break a person down to a certain level, and then to bring them back up. So it's I hate to use the word brainwashing, but it is.
Well, I brainwash my kids to be good little Christians. And like we do. You teach someone to be what you want them to be. Yeah.
And there's no way to just switch it and like you're not that no more, or you're not trained that way no more. Right. You're forever.
Well, in the military too, my best understanding is they have to create a family out of you to where you're going to do anything for your brother, right? Yes. I'm going to do whatever I have to do, and we're a family together. Yeah. And that's what keeps it cohesion. All cohesive,
That's why most of my friends and most of my social groups are veterans, because of that. I feel safer in a room with veterans. Yeah. I feel like we have a bond, and we got each other's backs. I'm maybe sitting this way, you're sitting that way, I'm okay. But if I'm not with other veterans, I need to sit a certain way in a place. That type of trauma, or that anxiety, however you want to call it, situational awareness, and it's the same thing for police officers and stuff like that. So back to you, 19, you get a job doing behavioral health finally, and you're down where again?
Behavioral health, Stanislaus
County. Yeah.
So I have to do 3,000 hours in my internship to get, I had an associate's license. You have to do 3,000 hours to clear the license. But because I worked for a 24/7 agency, I racked up my hours in 2 years.
Wow.
It usually takes people 3 or better to get it.
I was about to trying to do math in my head. Like, this is going to take a couple years.
Yeah. And going back to my childhood.
Do you think that's necessary? 3,000 hours of this type of...
I think it is, because for me, some people are really good at it and you don't need... The 3,000 helps weed out the morons. And so some of us get through it quicker, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I love what I do, and I study what I do, and I learn a lot. Some people
passionate about it, helping.
Very passionate about
people's
issues. So it does. And you're getting paid. You go and find a job doing it, while you're an associate, and so I think it's fine. Could be a little less maybe, but because it is tough. And then you have to test. The test is pretty hard. You have to do a lot of testing, a lot of continuing education. I have to do, I don't even know how many units a year. 30 units every time I renew my license.
I know my wife has to keep up on her nursing license.
Yeah.
She has to do so much a year.
To prove. And that I think they could do a better job. I can take classes on whatever I want to. So maybe it could be more guided. I mean, if I want to go do basket weaving and mental health, so you want to make sure it's beneficial and valuable. And so not everybody will do their continuing education in things that are really valuable. So there's a lazy way out. Yeah. So it just depends on, and I don't know any personally, but I know that it exists. So
you down, how long were you at Stanislaus?
I was with Stanislaus 3 years. I got through.
It's not big city, but it's big. I mean,
500,000 people in that county.
Yeah.
And they have a big budget for this, very concentrated programs. So for us, you have to qualify to get into. You're very severe. You're really the worst of the worst. You're severely drug addicted. You're homeless. We're working to get you conserved. They're very severely mentally ill.
You do a lot with adults, or do you help children?
Adults. So there are children's units, but they're not my thing. Big problem with that is because you have parents bringing their kids in and saying, I don't know what's wrong with my child. Well, you want to show a mirror and say, that's what's wrong with your child there. Yeah. And so you're working with this poor kid, and you have to hope the parents on board. And if they're not, they're going to sit with you for an hour and they go right back to the chaos. And so it's just not my thing. It's not my audience. I work with people they prefer kids, and they, only want to work with kids. I do not want to. Yeah. And beyond that, I raised my boys myself, very strict. I never had a drug, a drink, no cutting school. You'll be in the back of a police car if I find out, and I will, for real. One of my sons, he'll hear this too. He swiped my debit card and he used it without my permission.
Oh, wow.
One time. So I called the police.
One time.
One time. Here's why one time.
Yeah.
I called the police and I said, I want you to come arrest him. And they said, if we do, that's a felony. It's identity theft. And I said, well, never mind. We don't want to do that. So I called the campus police at school, told them, they picked him up in their cart, took him down to their and then I told football coach, well, he ran till his legs were rubber. So I hit them hard and heavy when they did things so they wouldn't do things.
Well, I remember my stepdad take me down to the fire department when I was playing with a match.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
Well, I just believe, you nip things in the bud, and I was alone. I just can't. I'm at work all day and I come home tired and I can't deal with trouble. One of my sons.
But at least you didn't ignore it.
Oh, absolutely not. No,
that's a lot what I think people do. I'm busy,
No, absolutely not. We're in the mix and we're constantly together, and our family unit was the most important thing in the world. I don't care about friends. Their friends, my friends. Raising these boys to be good men was just the top thing. My top worry. I made sure they had good mentors around them.
Yeah.
Sports did that. Really strong. 2 of them did football, and their coaches were,
pretty big kids.
Large size.
I mean, just
Yeah. I mean, my old
sports, like you got.
My middle son was really a big kid. He was that center. I don't know what they're called.
Oh yeah, he's a big boy
behind the dude that catches the ball. Yeah. So he was a big kid mowing him down.
Yeah.
He played all through high school. And my oldest played only through Pop Warner till he went to high school because his high school didn't have football. Yeah. But he would have liked to have continued it.
Yeah.
So, just strong mentors, really strong church men leaders. My oldest son still looks at one of his. He went to Royal Rangers, which was the equivalent of Boy Scouts.
Yep, I remember that.
He still talks about that man, John Alameda. He just admires him and just loves the kind of dad he is. Yeah. So I surrounded those boys with.
I think that's, we don't do a good enough job as a society to thank our teachers. Because, I mean, as a child myself going through trauma, my teachers were my safety parents, and people that cared about me and loved me.
Yeah.
Like, I wish we could do more for them.
Yeah.
And then just recently working with my goddaughter, and going through dealing with her teachers, dealing with her, it's like, I feel for these guys, The
reward though is in the success of the kids. When I taught, I would go buy In-N-Out burger for the kid. You give me $6.
Oh gosh.
You're not getting change.
My lunch right now.
Yeah. No change. It's like $5.95 or something. I keep the nickel. Yeah. I'm like, you're not getting change and you're not getting extra this and none of that. You're getting a double how it comes. Yeah. I did let them pick their soda.
Yeah.
Well, my classroom was packed full at lunch, but I had the nerdy kids and I had the sports kids. And I told them, if one person gets harassed, put down, picked on, you're out for life. You're just out of here. Well, that created this bond with these kids. It was, you had the black trench coat kid with the quarterback of the football team.
Yeah.
And they knew I didn't play. And so I think we can do a much better job creating things like that in school and a lot better job bringing these kids together. And you need teachers who really care. And I've just always had this heart for people and helping them. And one of these boys stands out. He was on the football team and I had a long row of windows in my classroom. He'd lick the window from one end to the other outside. So I had this lick mark all year long on my window and I loved it. And another teacher would have written him up for that. Like, give him a break. I thought it was hilarious. So I was that one that thought things were, funny. And I let him eat in class. There better not be food on that floor or you guys, that's it. Your days are done.
Give the rules. This is the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the boundaries.
Yeah. But give him a place to hang out. And so this kid, I ran into him years later. He used to come into my classroom. He needed help. He said, I'm not going to graduate. Why? He was so far behind in English. I said, I'm going to help you. I was a Spanish teacher, so who cares? And so he found me years later. I ran into him at a Big Five in Modesto. And he said, you're the reason I graduated. And again, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm just saying that those little seeds you plant for kids, I can't help everyone, but I can help someone. And that was my goal, to just plant little seeds and give little opportunities to these kids who will come to find out this kid's mom was a Vicodin addict and never got out of bed, and shipped him off to the Christian school to fix him. And who else did he have to care for him, So I didn't bond with every kid like that, but I certainly did with a lot of them. And I just hope, if I were able to talk to them today, those seeds that were planted, that they knew they were really cared about. And I loved them. It was more than that darn hamburger, but it drive them into the room, and got them in there together and just a family, just like military creates with you guys. Those kids were family. And so it was just the greatest thing.
So when you in Stanislaus, what did you do after Stanislaus?
So Stanislaus, that's when I have always wanted to live in a rural area. I knew I would I don't even know the year I moved up here, 21. It was April 2021. I came up and stayed a weekend in an Airbnb. And I just said, I'm moving up here. It probably wasn't April. It was probably March. I'm moving. And my kids are like, yeah, whatever. And I said, no, I'm moving. So April, I started looking for a house, found one, closed escrow in July, and we moved up. And
you're still working down at Stanislaus?
No. So I did for a year. I drove back down to Stanislaus for a year. And they don't pay as much up here at all.
Yeah.
So I had to get a management job to be able to afford to live here. So you're in supervision when you're earning your license, when you're an associate. So I had a clinical supervisor, and he said, Tuolumne County is hiring a, manager of adult services. So I applied for it and got it. And so then I could stop commuting for a year. And so I've been working for behavioral health up here for 4 years.
Who did you interview with? You remember?
It was Tammy. Was Tammy there? Tammy Mariscal, yes, was on the committee. Her name's Danny Fisher. She's our psychologist, and she was a student psychologist at the time. She was on the panel. I'm pretty sure Misty Ambler was on the panel. She's she's a deputy director there. And then there was an admin person, and I want to say it was Brittany Madden. I'm not positive because she's on a lot of the panels. But one of the questions that was asked, Tammy asked me, she said, "What do you think about having fun at work? Do you like having fun?" And I said, "Absolutely. I love having fun at work, but in the right time and place."
Yeah.
And so, they offered me the job and hired me so I could stop having to commute down to Modesto. And then I just managed the most outstanding team of people. We've got associate clinicians, behavioral health workers who do the rehabilitation and the case management, and then interns. So I will supervise interns who are in school who come in to get their hours, because you have to do a certain number of hours interning while you're in school too.
So you're enjoying your job?
Love my job.
Supervisor sucks.
Well, so supervisor just seems to be the next. I've spent my whole life, literally, I was a damaged kid, searching for help, not able to find the right help until I was an adult. And so my whole life, I've just been looking to help people and to help better their lives. And I see things that can just be done better. And it just seems like the next great step. And I really...
Was there a catalyst in there? Was there just one day you're like, maybe I should do this job?
Well, I really thought I would do it in retirement, which I think in 3 more years I'll retire because I'm 60. So I've got 3 years to go. Well, I joined... When I moved up here, someone knocked on my door and they said, "Hey, you haven't paid your water bill." And I said, "Well, I don't know how to sign up for water." It's a private water company. We have 354 homes. And so I said, I started chatting with the guy. "I'll write you a check right now." I wrote him a check. And I said, "Hey, I've been thinking about getting on the POA board. We have a property owner association." So he said, "Yeah, I'll give your number to some people." I get a phone call, come to the meeting. I show up at this meeting. There's 5 men at the table, and it's the water board. It's not POA board. And so I just thought, I don't know anything about this. So there was 2 of us that they were looking at for bringing onto the board. So when we left, I told this guy, "Hey, Bill, my feelings wouldn't be hurt if you went ahead and just took this." Well, the joke's on me because they wanted 2 people. And so I did it anyway. So I've been on this water board now for 4 years. Also, I'm a director on the water board.
We have we have a lot of little water districts, and it's kind of scary, and we don't have a lot of water maintenance people.
Right. No, you have to have I've learned so much now, a D2 or a D3 on staff. And we're a tiny water company. They have not done any infrastructure maintenance in 50 years. I live in Phoenix Lake Estates, and
Phoenix Lake water system.
They've done no maintenance and update. So here we are, these volunteers, water mains break and blow out. You know, we just replaced all the meters.
You got full-time workers, or are you stealing water workers from other?
We had a full-time worker, and then he left. We got another one. He's gone. And so now we have a contractor right now that we're using for the D2 license. We're contracting it because we're tiny. We can't pay. I mean, we should be paying them $30-$40 an hour. And we can't afford that. So we have
So where's your funds derived from? The Phoenix Lake property tax, or is there AOA? How do you get your water district funded?
The water district, you're going to pay for your water. It's right now $71 a month. $20 goes toward infrastructure, and the $51 is for your water use up to a certain amount of gallons. And if you go over 10,000 gallons, it's $3,300 because we used to bill every 3 months. 3,300 gallons a month, then you're going to pay higher. So water use is really low in the winter, and then of course it
so
goes
your
up.
funds are specifically coming in from the bills, water bills.
Yes, and every
tax.
No, and everybody who lives in there is a shareholder, so you get one share of the company. So all the 357, 54, I'm not sure, but they all own one share in the company. But you know how it is, people don't volunteer. And so we've got this board of volunteers, and we'll get called, people ticked off. Why is it this way? Why are you raising the rates? Please come to the meetings, please participate.
Yes.
So you take a lot of grief.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what it was entailed. Certainly in a water company, I was up on top of one of our water storage tanks. We went on a tour, and I just thought, what the heck am I doing here? But I've learned so much, and I'm kind of the HR watchdog. If the staff are there, be sure and pay yourself time and a half for this. Put it down as overtime. And I don't know about the meters and all that's the laterals break. I've learned a lot about it, but there's men who've been on this board for 20, 25 years, even longer. They come on the board and go off the board. And so
where does your water supply come from?
We have 7 wells that are all spread out through the neighborhood. We have 3 huge water storage tanks. One's up in the Bear Cub area. It's not even in our neighborhood. It's, up in someone else's neighborhood. So 3 different storage tanks. They need to be replaced. They were used when huge,
holy moly,
giant water storage tanks, and they were used when they were put in 50 years ago. And we need to replace them. The state, in order to balance their budget, has really dried up all grants. So we haven't been able to get any grant money. The board did have the foresight to buy a huge piece of property. I don't know how many acres it is, but I don't know if you're familiar with Phoenix Lake Estates. There was an old golf course.
Times. Yeah.
So next to the old golf course, then that's where the water company bought a big piece of property that we're hoping to put.
So what's going on with the golf course? Because it's not running, or
nope. The golf course went down about 4 years ago, and a private citizen came in and he purchased it. He wants to put a vineyard on it. So he went to the county. The county went and designated it as open space. And whether it's private or not, you can't do a thing with it. You can't build on it. You can't do anything with it. He owns it. It's his personal property. So he's asked them to rezone it back to a golf course, because you can build agriculture. You can plant agriculture on a golf course. Isn't that weird?
Well, I'm just thinking, it was a golf course.
It was a golf course.
Why we cannot play golf on it no more?
It just wasn't profiting. They didn't make enough money on it. It went under. It had to go out of business.
I think our old retirement, just to start generate, the boomers are getting up there. They're the ones that really were the social butterflies in the golf course and the retirement. That's I see the numbers as a veteran, because our veterans organizations, about 70% of our organizations are Vietnam vets.
Yes.
And we're about ready to lose half of our membership in the next few years, a decade. This is bad. And that affects, that multiplies out in our community.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, and one other job I didn't tell you I had before, I had this weird fascination with death. And so I had to go work for a cemetery for a while. Yeah. And they'd come out, if it was a veteran funeral, it's all older dudes, they're 60, 70, 80 years old, honoring a fallen veteran at those. And there's no young ones. Yeah. So, the generation, it's my generation. I did it to my kids. They volunteer, but my generation really didn't cause their children to get out there and volunteer. And so we have this whole new, the millennials, they're not volunteers, and then the Gen Zs, and it just trickles down. People. Yeah. So your older vets who come out and show up to things and volunteer, they're getting older, and the young ones aren't stepping up.
Oh yeah.
In every area.
The choir, man, I get frustrated. I posted something on Facebook last night, kind of airing my frustration about people just not stepping up.
No.
One of my things I word is the sacred duties of, especially when it comes to funerals. I wasn't really involved. I've been doing veterans funerals since I was in high school when we had the ROTC program, and it never ended throughout my whole career. And I just sending my uniform to the cleaners yesterday, and so I'll be I do funerals every once in a while too. And
I'm
showing up to funerals with 2 or 3 guys, and it's barely enough.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I've never seen something that made me, like, working at the cemetery, like any other living, I don't want to say you're jaded. You get used to it. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped really crying. Baby funerals really got to me, but the military, and especially active. We had this one where the bagpiper, he comes in, and it was early morning, I think on purpose, through the fog, and he walks up playing that bagpipe, Amazing Grace, and then they brought a horse in with boots backwards in the I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like hiding behind a tree, it's not even my family, and I'm just in tears. Just the fantastic honor. But this was for an active one. So it's the older generations. If you're not active, that's when the volunteers come in and do it, and it's shrinking, and they deserve the same honors,
Yeah. So. And a lot of times people don't get to experience, the tradition behind folding the flag unless they've been to a veteran's funeral.
Yes.
We're describing this history of our flag in our country, and there's a lot to that too.
I love it. And they just are talking about it, and just they don't even look at the flag. They're just doing those perfect movements, and it's that thing just comes out just beautifully folded, and it's so moving, and it's just such an enormous, fantastic honor for those families.
And without volunteers, without holding these traditions, we're losing a human touch for sure.
Well, it's just a problem in this country. When I was young, you will learn those patriotic songs, and you will stand for that pledge, and you will love your country, and we're losing that. And when my kids were in school, it was optional to stand for that. And I told them, you will stand, or I will eat your butt. You simply will. And you will not walk out of class and protest, and you will honor, and you will be respectful of teachers. We've lost that. The one thing
that unites us. If you want to talk about unity, here we are. We're going to say a pledge together.
Yeah.
And it's not overly religious. It's not overly political.
Yeah.
It's justice for all.
Right.
Justice for all.
Yeah. And we lost it. And I don't know. I have my beliefs in how it happened. We just have this, I don't know.
There's a whole bunch of, family, degradation of family. There's degradation of society as a whole, not going to church, social groups shrinking. I mean, there's unity, and now we're getting down to like, what do we really have in common anymore? Like that unites us.
Right.
I don't think, even if we had another 9/11 today, we wouldn't respond the same way with flags everywhere and trying to come together as neighbors. And because there's a whole nother, why did it happen and how it all turned out, but things are changing, and
not always for the better.
Not always for the better, and there's nothing you can really do about it.
No,
other than do what you can.
My own kids, I've got a millennial, and then I've got 2 of the Gen Zs. I think is what they know. What are they? What's after millennial? I'm
not exactly sure what's after millennial. I'd have to look it up.
I think they are Z. They're Gen Z, and then I think X is after that.
Yeah.
But my oldest,
I'm just like early millennial.
Yeah.
Like I always felt like I've lived a Gen X life, especially in Tuolumne County. We're 10 years behind.
Yeah.
I grew up with a black and white TV and a turn knob, and I was the controller. Like this is like 1960s stuff, and I'm in the 80s, right? But yeah, I'm early millennial. And I think my brother and sister are late millennials, and I'm not sure what my son is. I really haven't looked it up yet. He's probably that Gen X.
I think he's X.
Yeah.
Well, my oldest son wanted to go in the Air Force. He would fight for his country, but my next 2, I wouldn't go to war. I'm not fighting for this place. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Yeah. This is literally, I believe it with all my heart. We're the greatest country on the planet, and we're not perfect. But where else can you come from another country with nothing, a buck in your pocket? You hear so many stories, and build a business and build a family and own a home. And where else can you do that?
I'm recently looking at my sabbatical trip and going to Southeast Asia, and I'm mainly because it's really affordable. And I'm sitting here thinking, I was born an American, and I can literally go to another country and live for like $400 or $500. Food, like just being a born American, like that gift alone. It didn't really start trickling in my. I served my country. I've been in the military. I understand how important it is, but this is a new type of like, oh wow, like as an American, I've got a lot of privilege when I go to another country in so many different ways. And mainly because of our dollar. And for many years, I was, especially being an Iraq war veteran, I'm like, I was a little bit of frustrated about being the world police. Like, why are we the world police, you know? But at the end of the day, someone's got to be the police person, just like in our own community. And America's been given a huge responsibility to help protect the whole world. Really what it comes down to. And I'm scared that just like we recently have had this, you know, anti-police movement in our this last 10 years, like that I see also playing out on the world stage right now. Like they're getting mad at America for policing, you know, and doing the tough stuff. And like, so I see it like it's not just bit small. We think it's local, but no, it's big now.
And it's needed, right? I mean, someone's going to be the world power. Someone's going to do these things. And again, there's so much here that could be changed, or there's corruption here, of course, but not like in other places at all. And show me one other country that people are literally beating down the door to get into. I'm not beating down the door to get anywhere. You're about to go travel. I came, you know, I was in the UK in September on vacation. I can go where I've been to Mexico all over how many times? We can go anywhere we want. People are beating down the door to come here. There's a reason for that. Because we are going to protect you, and we're going to help you, and we're going to make sure you do great. And nowhere else in the world does that.
The rights and privileges that come along with being a citizen.
Even in Europe, you're going to get in trouble for things you say. They have this thing against hate speech and hurting people's feelings, and like you can get arrested there for that. Here, I may not like what you say, but I'll defend your right to say it. All the way. That's
hard to swallow as a public servant.
It is.
But you know, as a veteran, there's people be holding signs and doing things I don't like. Then I think I give them their space. I stay away, let them do what they want to do. I think I have boundaries. Like I don't think I could, and I don't go to protests anymore because I did get in. I pulled security one time, and I had to take a person down at the Freedom Park, and I'd never been back to another protest because I can't see other people get hurt. I can't see other people be belligerent. I'm one of those. I'm a police dog. I'm a retired police dog. If I see bad behavior, it clicks, you know. If I saw a flag burn, you know, oh my gosh, that's the line for me.
What disrespect, right? Like you be sure and light that flag on fire inside this country that you're living in.
Oh my gosh,
that's helping you.
Like that's just the line too far. Like, and people don't. I guess I can't comprehend why they think that's okay. I get freedom of speech. Trust me, I will die for your freedom of speech. But that you're
respect this place, right? Say what you want, but have respect for this place that is. There's nowhere I'd rather live. There's nowhere that's gonna.
It's only because of that flag you have the right.
100%. 100%.
And you're burning it like that doesn't work. It's. I don't know. I'm lost for words. No, I agree. And you know, when I was young, people probably they've just bent towards so many other ideas coming in, and I love it. Let's bring people live here from all over the world. It's fantastic. But when we used to travel to Mexico, you know, my husband's family, well, we went on Thanksgiving one day. Well, there's no big parade for me in the street. Where's my turkey? Where's my, you know, and they have displays because they're very Catholic in Mexico. Every corner you go on, there's a little altar built to the religion. I love it. I'm there. I'm one of them when I'm there, you know, like I want to be Mexican now because I love it. Well, you come here and you can't, people complain.
you come in here and something offends you and you want me to tear it down. And this is our tradition, and it's what used to hold us together. And now all these things that used to hold us together, we've got all these villages of people, and we've got our little fences around us. And
we're wondering why things are getting bad.
Right. Yeah. And what's going on to hold us together and to bring us, all together as one. And it's just sad because this place isn't what it was, this country, when I was young. And I'm sure you're seeing that it's not even quite what it was when you were young. And where's it going to end up?
Let's circle back to your candidacy and your thoughts about doing this.
So I work in behavioral health. I'm in the jail. I provide services in the jail. I provide services in camp justice. And so I just see where things can be better. And there's a lot of waste in the government. We pay $250,000 renting space when we've got that giant courthouse sitting there empty. People complain about Fire Station 56 closing. It stinks. We don't need less protection. We need more. Well, that $2 million elevator in the courthouse could have paid.
Well, I sat on the preservation committee, and part of preserving that building and making it useful, we had to do that.
Do the elevator?
Yeah.
Well, that's so it's accessible, right?
Yeah, we had to do the
So my question to the county then is, what's the plan to get it up and running? And we need to to get it.
It can't be big. The more it sits vacant, unused, the worse it's going to get and dilapidated. And as someone who loves preservation and history, it's like, that was my whole, okay, I get it. This is a ticket, but this is going to help preserve the building. Now, preserve it. Get in there. Start using it.
Yes.
Right?
And so there's just a lot of waste. And so, for example, we bought that miners motel to house homeless people.
Yeah.
How do you think those people feel trudging up and down Highway 108, looking at that thing fenced off for almost 3 years where they should be living?
Yeah.
And so I just see these decisions that are being made at the county level. I would have asked some questions when you're going to buy that thing.
Well, I feel like we're especially with grants and stuff. Oh, we got this money, we got to spend it, and blah, blah. But there's no the back end, the follow through is not there.
Right.
But a lot of that is, when you lose a bunch of department heads, things are getting thrown to the wayside. Especially our committee meetings right now, they're pretty much squashed for the next few months because they just don't have the manpower to have meetings now.
So what are they lacking? A chair?
They're lacking is management. They've just literally, you look at it, all the head experience in the last year is gone. Yeah. They all resigned for one reason or another. And I won't get into that. I mean, because I've talked to a few of them, and it's not, I will say this, it's not what they're saying. It's not what's put out in the newspaper. There's a backstory to all these situations. Yeah. Now, I feel like some of them should have went? Yes. But there's a few in there I'm really sad about, and that shouldn't happen. Even with the last one, where I'm still kind of confused over that. But
I was confused too about that, because for me, I don't know why she resigned. I'm not sure if it was the decision to put the OES under the sheriff that caused her to want to. For me,
I love Sheriff Vasquez. I don't know. Yeah. I think he's a pretty nice guy, and I would imagine he'd be a nice guy to work for.
But I want to stick around until things are better. And so it's just this
is definitely a transition period for this county.
Definitely. Well, in my job, they brought me in and asked me to increase the morale of my department. And so the way I manage is that don't tell me you're going to go do something. Let me know where you are. So if someone asks, hey, where's so-and-so? I don't look like an idiot. I know where you're at. Go practice your craft. Go do it. Don't ask me. I have a very happy team. They're very cohesive. I don't micromanage. I think it's disgusting to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
any good manager would know that.
Yeah. And I'm going to hang out until things are improved. We had a small jail program going on. Well, the adult services team came in. They used to have 30 people. They call it ADSEP now. It used to be SEG. It's administrative separation. The states changed the wording on it. But they used to have any average of about 30. We average about 3 now, because of the work that's going in. And so I want to stick it out until things are better. And I think that in my job now, things are really good with this team that I'm part of. They're working really well. Their productivity is good. Their morale is up. So I want to go the next step. I just hear so much in the county, people talking about, my roads and, the grand jury reports. What about those? And, waste in the county. So it just seems like a logical next step for me to help people and get in there. I have insight already because I'm in the government already. I see what's going on.
Would you be taking a pay cut for this job?
Big pay cut.
Exactly.
50%.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
That would alone would say, you can have it.
No.
Holy moly.
No. And that's why, people should know I really do care.
Yeah.
And it will be hard. I'm already saving up money and shoring up the big sacrifice.
Yeah.
And it won't be, some people will maintain a business or a couple businesses. Some of them have two businesses. This will be my only job. I have to resign at behavioral health because it's a conflict of interest. So I would resign and then be a supervisor full time. Yeah. And I've heard some of them wanting to make it a full-time job, double the pay. I don't agree. This is a volunteer job. It's a job because I care about the county. You show up and get paid for the meetings you're at. I went and did the Christmas Eve meal. I fed people that. I was at the tobacco and litter trash pickup. And I didn't do these things because I'm running for supervisor. I do that stuff anyway.
Exactly.
I constantly volunteer.
Yeah.
And so this would just be a little, in addition to what I'm doing anyway in the community, I'm going to meetings now and trying to help better things. And we don't have representation for behavior health, social services. I do infrastructure. Capital projects on the water board that I'm on. So I bring that experience. We've got real estate agents on the board. We've got business owners already. We've got a independent contractor on the board already. Nobody was around to ask those questions about Miners Motel.
Wow.
Where's the money coming from to refurbish it? When will you open those doors? So I just feel like I could bring.
It was more of a use it, lose it. But I feel the same way with the child detention, what do they call it now?
JDF? Juvenile hall?
Yeah, juvenile hall. I was like, why? No, I don't want that. Because of the ticket it's going to cost to maintain it. Yes, it's free to build, but we have to spend another $1 million to maintain it. Yeah. And it's the same thing. And do I want a place for our kids? Absolutely. But as we look at the budget, we look at finances, this is not a smart idea. And then you got the Miners Motel, the whole thing now. It's again, we got the money, but then what's the back plan?
Right.
What's it going to cost? And so it's
and Fire Station 56 too. I met with the battalion chief Torres. He advised not to open it. His advice was to put another personnel on each apparatus instead, which probably could have been more sustainable than keeping that whole thing. So I think we need to listen to the experts too. When you've got an expert in front of you who's saying, advising against something, we need to listen if it's not in our wheelhouse. So behavior health is definitely my wheelhouse, infrastructure, those kinds of things, serving people, caring for people. So, hopefully I could bring a bit of insight to that position and come in. I've been in Camp Justice. That's my job takes me there. I see the issues with it. We use Housing First funding. You cannot require people participate in a treatment plan. You can require nothing. Housing First says get them housed and then you offer services. Well, sometimes you need to check some boxes, And so my idea would be to give a 90-day lease. If you check your boxes, we're going to extend you another 90 days. Let's get people successful. Let's get them some rehabilitation. Let's get them into some temporary housing, I have a client, diversion program too is a big thing that we hated the idea of Californians in general. I have a client who is in on the diversion program, felony charges. He came under behavior health and he was forced to. He had to check the boxes to stay in the program. Well, guess who's been clean and sober for 2.5 years, who's had the same job for a year, who's engaged to somebody now, has a healthy relationship, who still comes in for his therapy appointments. So if we apply the same things to Camp Justice, we require them to participate in their treatment, they're going to be a lot more successful. Just giving them a house and a place to live isn't going to do the trick. So we need to find a different funding source.
Do you feel like in your position right now, the county's not supporting you to go out and make that happen?
It's the money. We're out at Camp Justice offering it. Oftentimes some people do. They really are serious about their treatment. It's a soft landing place for them. They have a safe place to lay down at night. Sheriff goes through there a couple times a day. So there are some that are going to get up who are more resilient. You struggled in your lifetime. I have too. We're more resilient than some other people. It's the people that lack that resiliency that need a little more prodding, maybe a little fire lit under them. And so as with the diversion program, if you don't complete and check your boxes, you're going back to jail. Well, in Camp Justice, if we have them check the boxes and participate in their treatment as a condition of staying there, they're going to be successful. Not all of them. Some really do struggle with severe mental illness, but some of them have substance use issues. Let's get them into treatment, but this housing first model, you cannot require anything. And the state right now, there's a bill going up that they want to have clean and sober housing. Well, the governor rejected it last year because it doesn't follow the housing first model. You cannot require that they be clean and sober. You just must house them. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
For me, it would work. I'm a resilient person and I'm determined. I went back to school and got a degree at 52.
Everybody needs pressure.
Yeah.
You got to have pressure to make diamonds.
Yes.
You have no pressure at all.
Yeah. So that's what I would advocate for is we need to find a different funding source. My understanding is it costs about $7,000 a month to run Camp Justice. We need to find a different funding source. The Miners Motel, I don't know why the board did it. They designated it as housing first for 55 years. Which means people are going to get housed and you don't have to participate in anything. And so I don't like it. And I haven't talked to anybody yet to find out why they decided to do it that way. Instead of, maybe it's the money. They gave $1.2 million in additional funds to Habitat to help rehabilitate the building. Maybe that was that funding. I don't know. But the way California, we have a third of the homeless population in the country. And they've spent around $180 billion on the problem. If you divide that money up amongst all the homeless people, and we could have all bought them their own home, throwing more money at it doesn't work. It's the rehabilitation that works.
It's just huge numbers, and it's mind-boggling.
It is.
Man, we're out really, where did the money go?
Yeah.
What? Where was it spent?
Right.
What? And
it keeps bloating and bloating. It just keeps, the programs and the government systems, and they just keep getting fatter, and we have more people on the street than we did before. It's not working.
Yeah. I'm so glad I'm a veteran and I serve my country and I have benefits, and if I came down to I was homeless, I have the opportunity to go to another country and live off my pension. I've got my own safety net. And I would and
they need help. How can you sit over at the camp and know that they have nothing? I don't have a job. I don't have money. I don't have relationships.
It's a cool hand, Luke. Nothing's a real cool hand.
Yeah.
All the opportunity. To move up.
And they have this mountain of problems and the issues that they don't know where to start. So if you have them get services and come in with us, we're going to pull these three out and let's deal with these three first. And now let's pull these three out. And eventually that mountain's gone and you've gotten a lot of help and a lot of rehabilitation, but we can't require anything.
What's your take on the rumors of homeless coming in from other places and stuff? Are people dumping people off?
No, we have some people from all different states that show up at behavioral health, but the same thing happened in Stanislaus when I was there. I don't know why they would come here because there's fewer services. We do have
our weather, we have that cold.
What are you going to do in the snow?
It kind of keeps that at bay to an extent.
And so we do have some housing, not a whole lot. Modesto has tons of housing. Every time a hotel goes under, they snap it up and refurbish it, and different housing. They have a place that used to be a grocery store that they've redone. It's housing for kids. transitional age youth. And so there's a lot more resources. So I think the people that land here probably have a friend here, or I don't know of anybody that would want to just be ditched here because truly we've got nothing.
Compared to like homelessness on the beach, nice weather, San Diego, like pick your place,
Now, what I do know is if you're released from a hospital and you're from somewhere, I have heard of people, not necessarily here, but in Modesto, where they're going to get you a ride. Like if I say, wouldn't you rather get back to your own hometown? Yes, we're putting you on a bus. Because, same thing here. We've had some, not the same, we're not dumping them, but I've had some clients who maybe grew up in the Valley. And I say, if you want help getting back there, the services are greater, and we're not ditching them there. We're just saying, go back to this place where you're familiar with, and you probably have some natural supports, and get them back there. And so I have heard of, when I worked in Stanislaus County, if you're getting out of a psych hospital and you're from some other area, they're going to either have to house you or put you up in a hotel, or, hey, let us pay for that bus ticket to whatever town you're from. Yeah. So that kind of thing I have heard of.
I've experienced doing veteran services for over 20 years. It was interesting. A few years back, prior to COVID, I met a veteran who was homeless, but he had an RV, and basically he lived out in the forest, and he would just come in for supplies and go back out of the forest. And I know we still have some of that going on.
Yeah.
So that's interesting too for our area.
Yeah. I'm also wanting to do this because when I was new up here, people don't want new people in town. They love if you're native and we've all been here forever. And so when I moved here, I'm a little quiet about it. So we were at the League of Women Voters Forum last week, and I said, there's a dirty little word called growth. And I said, you guys need me. You lost 1.9% of your population last year, 5th highest in the country for population loss.
Wow.
We need people.
In the country?
5th highest county in the country of population loss, percentage wise. Wow. And that's a lot for this little county. So when people say, I want my roads fixed.
Do you think is those numbers from like death, people passing away?
No, those numbers are because of lack of living wage jobs, lack of affordable housing, and lack of opportunity. So my 3 sons live here. One was in Nevada. I bribed him back here about 6 months ago. He can't find a job that pays a decent wage here. We're heavy on the tourism. And so those jobs generally, they're retail or service jobs. They pay a little bit lower. What are our big industry here? So county doesn't pay great. If you have a master's degree out of college, you're going to get paid $27 an hour to be a clinician. That's not a great wage to support a family. No. And then we have people who live in the Valley, drive up here to work, and then they take that paycheck and those tax dollars right on back down because we don't have homes they want to buy. We don't have stores they want to shop in. So I'm not saying sprawl, but we absolutely have to, get out of the dark ages and realize that we've got to grow a little bit. And there's workforce housing.
Well, growth is also going to help with our taxes. Not just growth in general, but like more homes, more apartments, more, I forget the word, there's just undeveloped property that needs to be developed. And once that develops, we'll get the more tax revenue that will come along with it.
And if we can get some block grants in, West Sacramento has a big project right now. They're building a senior apartment complex. They're building some workforce housing with these. And what that does is it can help pay for some of that infrastructure it's going to cost a lot to get you hooked up to water and sewer. And let's get permitting out of the way. Make it a little easier for people to come up and build.
But sometimes small districts, I was just hearing like Jamestown Water District, they're having a hard time, or sewer district. And they just like to do a brand new hookup is like thousands of dollars.
I read something that's like $20,000, right? To hook up a business or something.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's nuts.
That's not county. That's a local district issue, but there's talks about pulling them into TUD too. I don't know how that's all going to work because they're a failing district right now, and Jamestown's just really, the sewer district is failing.
In Jamestown, how many restaurants have closed? Down on that
opened and closed.
Yeah,
like literally Willow opened for like 6 months and closed.
Right.
I met the owners a last week or two ago, they were talking about it, and I didn't even I heard about it. They opened. I never even got a chance to go down there and visit the establishment before they were closed. And Station, my family loved going down to the Station restaurant there. It's pretty nice.
We're chasing away the generations is why. And so, and the other issue is I have a friend who is law enforcement. Him and his wife built his home in Phoenix Lake Estates. It's a big old giant home. Their families have moved on. All the bedrooms are upstairs. They've had knee replacements,
Oh, gosh.
So think about if you buy your home, 20, 30 years ago, your tax base is really low. It stays low. Well, if there's a place for them to move, they can move on to a smaller place, something built for, 2-bedroom, a nice gathering spot for them. And then a new younger family can buy that house. I'm paying $5,000 a year property tax on my home. The guy I bought it from was only paying about $1,300.
Oh my gosh.
So we're keeping it stagnant. So when people say I want roads, I'm sorry, we don't have money for roads. Our tax base is really stagnant. Everyone's exploding because we're getting a Dutch Brothers. They're so mad about it. That's jobs for somebody, that's a job.
That's house.
Yeah.
We're so we're attached to things.
I was in the jail, and they do too. They say they get their paycheck and they drive down and spend their money in Modesto. You got to make your. And I'm not saying we need to get a Costco because we don't have the population, but look at all these empty storefronts. What are we doing to attract some businesses in here and get creative? I was on a interview the other day by somebody, and he said, well, what about a co-op idea? What if someone takes over that Big Lots and splits it up into a co-op type thing? So you go to Hawaii, and it's called something 99. I can't think of it offhand.
Like a little mall, like a little strip.
It's a little mall with 20 restaurants in it. Man, it's the greatest thing ever. I can have all different.
That's kind of like going to Japantown or Chinatown, they got a little culture.
Yeah.
A little mall.
And, tourism is our number one industry. People would love something like that. Yeah. And I have a little secret that hasn't come out. I'm probably shooting.
Don't bring it if you don't want it.
I will. I have an Airbnb. And so when I came and stayed in that one, I'm like, I have to have this. It was the greatest thing. And this family I met and, and so I have people staying, and it's my basement. It's a finished 1-bedroom apartment, about 650 square feet. It's super cute. I have people from all over the world. We had people from India who came in over the weekend. Oh, I love it. So a couple from
friends that own Knowles Inn down in Sonora, and people all over the world.
All over.
And that house is just a wonderful house, a lot of history.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of fun. Someone from Indiana's coming in today, and in the summer it's packed full. And these are people that are bringing their money. They're looking to spend. Yeah. And what do we have to offer them? We didn't finish the story on the golf course. He wants to build a vineyard on it. Well, that's going to bring jobs. That's going to bring taxes. And that's going to bring a little elevated bit of tourism. People come into a winery, a tasting room. Home values will go up. Yeah. Why is the county sitting on that? Why have they not redesignated that?
Well, is it because we're lacking staff? Right people. Anything I've ever come across that I had a problem, that I had to get the county involved, I have to pretty much take people aside and go, hey, look, we got to get this done. I don't care how it got to get done, but we got to get it done. And it's all in who you know, and it's the relationships that you build and the trust that you have. Because a lot of times I notice it's just people are gun shy, they're scared, they don't want to do something, they're going to get in trouble for it, and it's their jobs on the line. It's like, hey, look, we'll back you. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Let's get this done.
Yeah. We'll say sorry later. Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
So the county has to get out of its own way and I don't know, and educate. I know it's the retired age, those boomers, that no, we don't want to grow and keep you safe.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm a little against tourism to a certain extent because I think for Pinecrest is a sore subject for me because I remember growing up going to Pinecrest. I don't go there no more. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't like the crowds, but there's a whole bunch to that. But even from a clean spec, you can only pick up so much trash, and when the trash gets this small, then it just feels like I'm walking on trash. Right.
What can we do to better manage that? I understand it's
federal,
right?
It's federal. And that's what we're up against. And that's a lot of our problem is Tuolumne County is poor because most of our property is federal. Right. We don't get the taxes from that. But at the same time, we're dependent on tourism. And tourism, we have to have federal lands have to be kept up clean. We could use more campsites or campgrounds. You know, we don't have enough of those. But you talk to the Forest Service, they're cutting back. They don't. I mean, road crew. We used to be able to. All the roads in the forest used to be open. We have. Considering all the roads in the forest, we're probably down to a third of what it used to be because we don't have the road crew. We used to have a 30-man road crew taking care of our forest, fire breaks, all this other stuff. And the federal government canned the program, you know? So now we got like 1 or 2 people that are supposed to take care of 3,000 miles of federal roads. Like it just doesn't.
That's something else Mario Torres told me, the battalion chief. Cal Fire, I asked him, are the feds doing a good job clearing the forest? He said they're doing as good as they can because they can't hire people on.
Yeah.
And that's
something. Hire people on, and then you got all the environmental stuff that happens too. That's just.
I know one of the questions was, given all the rules of CEQA, how can we get out of the way? And so, we've got to lighten up on these regulations so that we can.
But the common practice is I forget the exact exemption. County can exempt a lot of things. Like we're working on a project down in Tuolumne right now, and we actually hired Yaley as a consultant because she kind of knows obviously the system. Our storm drains are overflowing, and where our ball field is, which is actually county property. The ball field is county property. Will flood that whole area. So what happened? We're looking and we got to dredge the drain, the collection there. And so we're in this process of I think we're on a track for a grant. We're hoping to dredge that so we can sink the water more and it can flow better. I don't know why that came up, but this is, making it happen, making it work, finding the people. And you just fired somebody and we're hiring them to help us. Yes. It's like, cause they have the knowledge, they have the experience to get this stuff done.
Where'd they come from?
Yaley, actually, our old, she resigned back in, I think, last June or something like that.
The county just has decades of maintenance they haven't taken care of and upkeep and just kind of ignoring it. And now it's like this big avalanche happening to us and we have to get out of our own way and let things happen.
Yeah.
Get on, let people do the work. And it's tough decisions. I wouldn't have wanted to been on that board of supervisors in the last couple of weeks when they made that decision on 56. I'm just like, so glad, but they're going to come, decisions like that'll, I'm sure they hit every board. Really tough decisions to make. And
you see it on the water board. I see it on the Park and Rec, so you're definitely not new to the game of how this unfortunately slow works.
Very slow.
Yeah. And then it's anytime anything gets done, it's because of emergency.
Yes.
When the water tank is now leaking and it's not holding water, I guess now we're going to replace it.
Yes, exactly.
That's what we're waiting for.
Well, that's like with the 56, people are so mad about it. Well, what have we been doing for the last... It's a grant for 3 years. Well, how about even just the last year? Who's brought it to the board? Has it been talked about? No. And so they kind of let things get down to where,
Or even the ambulance service that we're losing the ambulance service. Oh, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
It's an emergency now. Then we're going to do something.
I don't know a lot about the new service. I asked
I guess there's a new contract. I think it's Mariposa. And the county we own the equipment, the vehicles and stuff, but the Mariposa is providing the medical,
the people.
The paramedics and stuff. I don't understand how there is a certain level of outsourcing that could save us money, but then there's a certain level of just hire them. Can we save money?
Yeah.
That's kind of like how Park and Rec Tuolumne District, Tuolumne Park and Rec District is, we get subsidized from the county. It's a sore subject because they say it's a 5-year contract, but it's year-to-year budget. But in the last couple of years, I've really been extremely upset that they'd even consider cutting it. what we do in the providing the service for the county, we're saving the county money.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to be able to do what we're doing.
Right.
Why is this even a conversation? But paramedics, okay, why? How is it saving money to go somewhere else, Mariposa?
Right.
I mean, big county. Mariposa is a wealthier county. Stanislaus is the wealthier county. Manteca was a wealthier county. So are they subsidizing the service for it? I mean, there's a lot of questions. The money's funny.
Is the Parks and Rec thing, is that have to do, they lost the umpires, right? Is that all with that same? The
background on the Tuolumne Park and Recreation District, we have our own property, but like Westside Park, the Veterans Hall, the Whitehead Field, those are all county properties. And so because Tuolumne Park and Rec District is there already, we have all the equipment, we have the manpower, and so instead of the county sending up people, they give us a contract to do what the county would be doing. And it's always been kind of contentious because there's not very many county-owned properties throughout all the different districts. So some supervisors from the other districts get mad that this district's getting subsidized in this way, but we're saving the county money, and if they didn't do it, things would overgrow and the county property would dilapidate and everything, because it needs daily attention, watering the trash, keeping it clean, keeping it raked in the fall. Like it's full time. Like
I don't know why some would worry about the funding anyway, because even if it's not in my district, it benefits me. I've been in the Veterans Hall. It's a cool building.
Yeah.
So it still benefits everybody.
Yeah.
That's another thing. People
from all the county go to Tuolumne.
Yeah. We get this infighting about, that doesn't benefit my district. Well, I certainly go use that service. I go to that park.
There's another thing like that's not even in my district, but I know about it because I'm on the preservation committee board. Was up in Groveland, the old community hall had that fire. And so when they went in to repair it and reestablish it, there's a downstairs portion where the community would store a lot of the community property for their community events, and they all got kicked out.
Wow! Because
of the renovation, and even when it's all done and fixed, the county's not going to let them back into the basement because they've pretty much shut it down, because it's unsafe, it's not accessible, and all this other things, but. And that kind of bothers me too. Like we live in an old community. Yeah. We have, old type of accesses, and these spaces are for the community.
Yeah, they're needed.
And then you get and then they say the new resiliency centers they bought.
I literally was going to just bring those up.
But it's too expensive to rent. And that's one of those funny things, like, okay, it was free to build, but now it costs money to maintain.
And now they sit empty.
Yeah. And at the time, and it really, I don't want to say names, but the person that takes credit for getting those, it wasn't her, it was actually somebody else. And at the time, when it was being presented to us at the Tuolumne Park and Rec Board, me as a military person and understanding crisis response, I'm like, we could, the county could purchase a lot of mobile bathrooms and mobile things for these type of crises, and we could just deploy them, and we could also rent them out but no, let's build these two buildings. And there's been times where the power's been out, the resiliency center is lights on, the generator's running, but there's no staff to let people in.
Wow.
So Tuolumne, we got no power, and then there's a building right in the middle of it that has power, but we're not allowed in it.
Wow.
It's just, whoa.
Well, one of the supervisors told me they do they serve a meal at Christmas to homeless people. Well, they want full rent, and they want them to rent the hall, and they want them to rent the kitchen. This is a community thing. Why is it costing a penny?
Yeah.
And it's so expensive. I mean, it'd be a beautiful place to
we have to pay for electricity, whether we use it or not.
Exactly. And it just needs to be more reasonable, the fees.
And it's funny because that people are still renting the Veterans Hall. And then we're also working on a project where we literally have a community center, the old T&W building in Tuolumne, that TPRD went into a long-term lease. We're hoping to buy it, but we've turned it into a small community center. When literally 2 blocks down the road, you have a brand new facility that no one can afford.
Yeah.
But we can make it affordable over here.
Something needs to be done about that. Supervisor Griefer has brought that up, that it's outrageously expensive.
Yeah.
And I can see if maybe an outside, the county comes in some, but what if you want to have a wedding there or something and it's in my community and my tax dollars paid for that thing? It should be accessible to people to use.
Yeah.
Something needs to be done.
I get that everything costs money, but hey, it's already there. It's already costing us money.
Yeah.
It's weird things. It's all weird things. And if you're a supervisor, you're just one of 5 and you got to somehow be a team.
Well, I've said when we were out talking, sometimes people like to say that, I did this and I made that happen. No, you didn't.
No, yeah.
You needed 3 hands in the air to get that to happen. And so we just need more of that, and giving credit and working as a team and saying, hey, the 3 of us collaborated on this, or, we got things done. We need to work together and take credit together, and not even take credit at all. We bettered our community, and that's what we're here for. So work better together, and we're not going to always agree on things, but find that common ground and let's get a lot done a lot faster.
Well, I think we've been at it for about 2 hours.
Okay.
Is there anything we didn't cover that you'd be thinking about right now? Or
that's exactly what I say to people when I'm doing an assessment. Is there anything we didn't talk about?
Yeah.
It's important. No, it went quicker than I thought so.
We had a good time.
Yeah, and I was worried. I'm like, how the heck am I going to, we're going to fill 2 hours? But it really does.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. I had a really good time.
Yeah, it's great to get to know you better.
Me too.
And I hope I'll see you around anyways. And I afterwards, I'll tell you somebody you may know. I don't want to embarrass her, but yeah. But thank you for what you're doing. Regardless if you win or lose, there's plenty to do.
Yeah,
there's plenty of work out there, and thank you for what you do in our community right now.
You're welcome.
And I almost hate to see you win, because we need good behavior health, obviously.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of good people out there. I often think to myself, like, I don't want to be supervisor, because I feel like what I do for veteran services and what I'm doing in the community is really important too. But
I can just fight for more. To me, I'll have a bigger stage to advocate for people and fight for people that, everyone wants a voice, and I don't think everybody has one right now. And obviously I'm for the downtrodden and the little guy, I had a tough upbringing and struggled financially, and all these things, and I get it. I'm one of everybody else. I'm the same as them, and I just want to.
And this is a good experience too. When I ran for supervisor in 2018, I met a lot of great people.
Yes.
A lot of great people. I lost, but I was probably one of the biggest winners.
Yeah.
It really came down
for sure.
To it. And just learning and being more involved in understanding how things work. And you're already on the water board and a water board, and it's super important stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meeting a lot of people and having a lot of fun with it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
No.
Well, thank you everybody for taking the time to visit us at Tuolumne Legends with, this is Sergeant R, and we had a great time with Rayanne. And so remember to vote June 2nd in District 2 for who you want, and I'll see you next time on the next episode.